Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the NXT Party. I am, of course, the Rated R reviewer, Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight we are joined by the Excalibur, Martin Elstone. How's it going, Martin?
How's it going? What's up?
Another great night of NXT UK. And I'm so happy to say that because last night we reviewed NXT, the 2-hour spectacular with absolutely nothing of substance.
And what we ended up getting tonight was probably, even the first hour of it was probably the best NXT UK episode I've seen in quite some time.
To be perfectly honest, I haven't been so pumped about NXT UK over the last several weeks, most of which has been because it's been 2 hours instead of one. Yeah. And it really beats you over the head with that shit. But at the same time, it just doesn't have the level of interest that I have on, say, a main roster show or even NXT.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the same level of investment. Somehow, these 2 hours of NXT UK have been the best 2 hours of wrestling I've watched all week.
I think it's the build up to pay-per-view myself. So.
Or maybe it's because of the shitty 2 hours we spent yesterday. And by comparison, this was fucking gold.
Yes.
What did you think about this first episode?
I disagree with you with it being because you guys watched the shitty highlight. It was actually from episode 21 that I actually started to getting an interest. And I think the stories really started to coming together. And
well, that's what I was saying, yeah. This 21 and 22, these were the best 2 hours of wrestling that I've watched all week.
So, yeah.
So first up, we have Travis Banks versus Jamie Ahmed. Jobber Jamie.
He had Jobber written all over him, and it was kind of sad because he had a really cool jacket at least.
Well, he's here to make Travis Banks look good because it's his debut.
Yep.
And is this? You've seen a few weeks of NXT UK. I think you said you went back about 8 episodes.
Yes. So
have you gotten to see a match with Travis Banks?
The Kiwi Buzzsaw?
Yes.
The only one I recall seeing was this one. And what is up with his nose? It looks like he's been broken to a million tiny pieces.
You think that's why he wears the flag over his face like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Almost like an intimidation type thing. Pulling that down, do you see his busted ass nose?
Well, I mean, Banks is pretty entertaining, but there's just something about him that I feel is so passable. And I don't know what it is. Just, to me, he's still meh. He doesn't have a lot of depth to his character, I suppose. Did you like this match?
Me, I pretty much walked into it knowing, Travis Banks was going to win. And I like him. He's got very Tajiri-like tendencies, at least with his kicks and his stomps. But yeah, there's something off about him to the point where I can't really attach to him really in any way. He's just very stompy and kicky.
Yeah, speaking of stomps, he does that spring out of the middle rope in the corner. You know, he springs up, but he comes down with gravity.
Yeah. And
does that double stomp. That's real fun to watch. I mean, he has a lot of fun spots. He does this 3-move. He trips up Jamie into the middle turnbuckle in the corner, and then does this running drop kick, and then does a bridging German for a near fall.
Yeah.
I mean, he's full of high spots, but he just seems so mid-card.
Yeah.
What do you think about this match, Martin?
Well, it was basically a showcase for him. He carried the match. He has good fluidity. When Devlin came out, he talked the shit, talked the game, and then I noticed Pee-wee said nothing, and I'm like, well, I think it would have come off better if Pee-wee talked some shit back. But then we go to the next episode, and he does that little cell phone promo that they all do now, and I was like, that's why he didn't say anything, because he's not good on the mic.
Save him for later. So I guess that's smart. Now we glanced over the end of this match. Obviously, Travis Banks wins, as you said. It was to make this guy look good, but he wins with a move that I'm not opposed to him using a Trouble in Paradise. He basically does a springboard off of the middle rope in the corner into a Trouble in Paradise.
Yeah.
And the camera angle was terrible on it, but we backed it up, and we managed to see that it was a kick, and it was to the face.
He initially thought it was a clothesline.
Yeah.
So
It looked like he hit him with his arm.
It looked more like a leg lariat to me, like right from the get-go. So,
but he calls it the slice of heaven. To me, it sounds like a play on Trouble in Paradise.
Yeah.
It's like
That's exactly what it is.
Call it sliced bread number 3.
I don't know.
No, there's already a sliced bread number 3. Ligero does it, I'm pretty sure. No,
damn, sliced bread number 6 then. I don't know. Just skip 4 and 5. Assume those are taken too.
Yeah.
So Jordan Devlin does come out, and I don't know why. Why did Jordan Devlin come out here?
Well, he had already talked some trash, like, about Travis Banks at the, like, an episode or so prior.
Yeah, but what does Travis Banks have that Jordan Devlin needs right now? Feud?
Credibility.
No, he doesn't have credibility. He's won one match. He won that other match because Moustache Mountain helped him.
But it's more indie cred than anything else. Like, Jordan's just trying to prove himself against the best in the world, and I guess he sees Travis as one of them, which I just don't.
I think Jordan Devlin just needs to make sure he's got something to do every week, every episode, so he's taking the bull by the horns.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think they're trying to plug them in these different scenarios and see what sticks and see if they can get any reaction out of it.
I think they're getting plenty good reactions out of Devlin.
Well, I was about to say, like, wrestler-wise, Stefan thinks he's awesome, personality-wise, he just wants to punch him in the face.
Oh, I'm warming up to him just because he's so good at being an ass.
Yeah, and you never bet against the ace.
So, up next, we get a video recap, sort of a promo. It goes back to Zach Gibson defeating Trent Seven and goes from there. And this is just like a point-by-point promo of Gallus versus Moustache Mountain and an extent Pete Dunne, British Strong Style. And this really gets me pumped for the pay-per-view. But at this point, I don't know anything in particular to be pumped about.
Yeah.
We don't have any matches just yet to be pumped about because we're obviously assuming that Joe is going to face Pete Dunne. But at this point, we don't know that's for sure.
Yeah. So basically, all we're going by is the main event for this show, which is going to be Wolfgang and Mark Coffey versus Moustache Mountain.
Yeah, but that's to advance to the finals in the tag tournament.
Yeah.
And we know Moustache I hate to spoil this if you're waiting for the end of our show to find this out, but we know Moustache Mountain's going to the finals.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really get me pumped for the pay-per-view.
We knew that
we
knew that before they even announced the tag team championship.
I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is this promo highlighted so well the job that they have done of building up Gallus as not only a faction, but all these feuds that are extending from them.
Yeah.
And it just makes me look forward to Blackpool, because TakeOver should be fucking awesome. What do you think about this promo, Martin?
It got me jazzed about it, and honestly, this is what really started pulling me in the episode. I'm like, all right, I can get behind this.
Well, we've established that Gallus has been like dominant almost at least every other episode, like, ended for a while. There were Gallus standing proudly in the ring, and just, like, anytime they're on the screen, you're pretty much sucked in anyway, because they're that good at just being badasses.
Yeah, this is true.
And from there, like, they have the perfect mouthpiece with Joe, because he's a super intense individual.
Yeah, even though he's really slow on delivery.
Yeah, well, I think that's the kind of thing that Jake Roberts used to do too. He used to speak very softly, but then he also
He carried off minutes.
Yes, it was also for the fact that he wanted to make sure you listened really hard to his voice, and that's something Jericho actually did after a while too. Just like when he was in his very serious mode, he talked very softly into the microphone.
Keep that in mind for, I believe, the next episode. There's a spot in there somebody talks so softly that it is almost impossible to understand them. So up next we get a video recap of the last 2 weeks between Eddie Dennis and Dave Mastiff. And this is just building up to next week's or next episode's match. It'll be the main event between Mastiff and Dennis. And I'm looking forward to this just because I want to see them have more time in the ring than the last time they faced.
Well, you know my opinion on Eddie Dennis at this point.
Oh, you've all but given up on him, but I think they're going to suck us back in here.
I'm starting to think so too.
So, any notes on this video package?
I'm actually kind of light on that whole feud. It's of all the things going into Takeover, this is probably my least favorite.
Well, I'm hopeful because I saw something in Eddie Dennis's character in that match, and we will get to that match. But I am hopeful. Up next is a different match. We've got a tag team match. Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams versus Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. And let me tell you, I am falling in love with Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel.
They are such a badass team. It's like we already knew Fabian Eichner was pretty awesome. We knew Bartel was awesome. For some reason, we just didn't link them together until like this past week where Bartel faced off against, what was it, Mark Andrews?
I think it was. I can't remember. I can look back. You keep talking.
Well, anyhow, like now they're a thing. They're a tag team, and in this match with. Yeah, all right, cool. Woohoo! Remembered shit. But yeah, with this tag match, Amir Jordan automatically looked like he was getting on Kenny Williams' nerves, like right on the stage, because he was dancing and not taking the match seriously, because they were trying to catch the eye of Johnny Saint and Sid Scala to be possibly entered into the whole tag team tournament. And
now you mentioned this, and it seems like this is the story basically that they told throughout the match, is that Kenny Williams is getting. Probably getting annoyed with Amir Jordan because Amir Jordan's not taking this seriously enough. I mean, basically at the beginning of the match, he starts doing that dance, that from heel to pad to that jumping dance.
Hey!
Yeah, and he ends up
like a poor man's no way Jose.
Yeah, he pays for the dance. Was it Bartel that got mad and ended up clocking him?
Yep. And after that, like, he pretty much gets owned almost this entire match. Amir Jordan does, and finally he gets gets the tag to Kenny. Who
only it doesn't really work out because Kenny does a few hot spots, but on his way into a suicide dive, Amir Jordan tags back in like an idiot. He just got worked over for half of the match. And then he ends up getting tied up in the ropes, and we see that basement drop kick by Bartel, which looks stronger every week. Maybe he's testing out to see how hard he can kick that without hurting somebody or knocking him off the ring. And then he goes for that cradle back suplex, that backdrop driver. Almost gets a fall out of it, but that's where Kenny Williams breaks up the pin. But he ends up back on the outside, and Fabian Eichner does this fucking spine buster, a vertical spine buster into the barricade. This ends.
Yeah, that was the end of Kenny.
And then we get back in the ring. Fabian gets Amir Jordan up for that power bomb. Only instead of doing the 360 spin like he does into the, it's not just a power bomb. He does the last ride. He does the last ride into a German suplex by Bartel. 1, 2, 3. That was fucking awesome.
It was beautiful. I actually became a kid in a candy store for that move. I was like, can we watch it again?
What do you think about this match, Martin?
I really enjoyed it. It's like you guys said, the Bartel and Eichner, they stole the show. I think it's hard to tell the story of the dissension of Williams and Jordan, but Bartel and Eichner were such a dynamic team that
they outshine that story.
Mm-hmm.
So up next we've got Radzi. He's in the back talking about. I guess he's talking about Blackpool coming up, but he overhears or he sees over in the corner of his eye. Surprise, surprise, whatever. So Tony Storm's over there talking to Deonna Purrazzo in the most fake conversation I've ever heard.
Yep.
Basically ends in a challenge.
What's up?
What?
I'm just gonna say,
what?
so horrible. This whole sequence, you can tell. Tony just needs to work on her acting skills. To be honest, I've seen better acting in a porno.
Same words I used.
Now, see, it doesn't get bad until they get over there. I thought this was really great. Radzie's great.
Yeah.
Radzie's great. For a backstage interviewer, he is. I think he's better than most of the people on the main roster. He's energetic. He actually has questions. He follows up on those questions. And in this case, he rushes over to get the story. And just as he gets over there, it kind of tanks.
Like,
it's just
maybe if they could have left him there and they could have bounced off each other. But, I mean, it was just bad.
Awkward conversation between baby faces. And I guess at the end...
You think you could beat me in a match?
So Deonna Purrazzo basically says she looks forward to, I guess, breaking Toni Storm's arm.
Yep. She's got that Fujiwara armbar she's known for, and that's what she's like, yeah, this is going to be fun.
So they agree upon a match, so we know the match is going to happen probably next week, and surprise, surprise, yeah, we get it next episode. We will get to that. Up next, we've got Johnny Saint and Sid Scala. They're standing outside the GM's office. They're getting ready to list off all the matches that are going to be happening at Blackpool. Instead, we get an interruption by Joe Coffey. Here's the setup to the match that I want to see.
Yeah.
Joe Coffey basically demands that he gets Pete Dunne in Blackpool at TakeOver for the NXT UK Championship.
It's his time. It's his kingdom. More stuff that he's just beating into people's heads at this point, and he's not wrong.
Yeah, when he's right, it's more like, I'm just sitting here agreeing. Like, yeah. Fuck yeah, man. You're not going to beat Pete Dunne or nothing. Unfortunately. Probably. I mean, maybe. Do you think...
Unfortunately.
What do you think, Martin? Do you think Joe's going to beat Pete Dunne?
No, Dunne's there basically in NXT UK John Cena. I think he's going to have that title for a while. I think Coffey's just fodder for this movie.
He's already had for like 550 days.
550 days without NXT UK.
That's true.
He has only had 22 weeks worth of episodes.
Yep.
For that title reign, and so 3 defenses so far. This will be his 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now's the time for him to lose the title because now you have your brand. Yeah. Now you can actually have the title mean something around the brand and build new stars. If you leave the championship on Pete Dunne for too much longer, you're losing opportunities to build up guys like Eddie Dennis with the title, or Zach Gibson with the title, or in this case, Joe Coffey.
Yeah.
Just my thoughts. If you're
thought.
gonna do it, the very first ever NXT UK takeover. You mean I missed it? Pete Dunne actually lost the title because I didn't watch? Because I don't watch NXT UK? You damn right. You do it at Blackpool. So I hope Joe gets it. I just don't think he will. I mean, I am in agreement. I don't think he's gonna. But we are gonna get that match. Let me say it up front. We're going to get that match.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we get Candy Floss versus Jenny, which was a fun match because Candy Floss made it fun.
Yeah.
What do you think about this match, Martin?
Okay. Did Candy Floss's does her whole gimmick and outfit make you uncomfortable? Because it did me.
Uncomfortable how?
She's dressed up as like this... you ever seen the old Pedo Bear memes?
I see where you're going, and I guess so, but I just associate it with the whole candy gimmick, because her name is Candy Floss. Like, it's just candy colors. Like, really, her gimmick has a lot to do with candy. Like, people bring her candy.
Yep.
Maybe I'm just a jaded soul. Much time on 4chan, and that was where my mind went.
I guess so, sir.
Well,
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I didn't go there. Not till now. Now I can never watch a Candy Floss match.
I can actually, because like the only other match I'd see her in was with Rhea Ripley, and that was pretty much squash. But this time she actually got some offense in. Actually had some fun in this match too.
Well, Jenny is so serious.
Yes.
So Candy Floss is a nice mirror to that, or not a mirror, but a duality to that. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway. She was having fun in this match. There was times where she was mimicking her. There was a time where She did the trip that Jenny does.
Yeah.
When she sends him into the ropes, but then she ducks and falls to the mat really short in front of them, and they trip over her. Well, she did that to her, and then Jenny went to do it again, and instead, Candy Floss jumps over her, and she lays down next to her, just sits there and smiles at her.
Yeah.
Which obviously she's going to lose this match because I think they even said on commentary she's like 18. She's young.
Yeah.
So she's probably going to lose, but at least she's having fun with it.
Yep.
Do I have any notes for this match? Just the finish.
I think she was 19. But
Maybe.
As good as she is at 19, I mean, there's nowhere to go but up with her.
I was about to say, she had the crowd eating out of the palm of her hand. She was having a great time with it until Jenny decided she was throwing some offense.
Yeah, Jenny wins the match. I don't know what they called that move, but it's a ripcord into kind of a rolling wheel kick, kind of a scorpion rolling wheel kick.
It's something couture. I'm trying to remember what.
House of Couture was the name of her stable that Cindy was talking about a few weeks ago.
I think it's a touch of the cure.
There we go.
Yeah.
A touch of couture.
Yes.
So,
Memory.
It was interesting. It's an interesting finisher. I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Do you have any other notes for this match, Martin?
No, that's pretty much it. I was just really impressed at how, like I said earlier, how established Candy Floss is with her skill at being 19.
That is true, but there are a couple of other females on NXT UK that are really young, but really, I think both of them 18.
I think Zaya Brookside.
Zaya Brookside is one. The other one is, what is it, the queen of the suplex that we never see suplexes out of? Maddie something?
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway, we'll figure it out later if you think about it.
We do.
Up next is the main event. We have Moustache Mountain versus Gallus. In Gallus, we have Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. They actually leave Joe Coffey, and he goes back to the back.
They've been doing that a lot now. They try to show that they can be dominant without all three members present. They can be factioned off as a tag team, or Joe can wrestle on his own. So
now this match is the semifinals for the tag team championship tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Winner of the finals at Blackpool Takeover will become the inaugural tag team champions. And I already spoiled this. Moustache Mountain win.
Yeah.
They're going to the Takeover.
But this match was what a tag team main event should be. This usually I'm pretty down on Moustache Mountain. I don't really see their appeal. But something about this match with them and Gallus, I was invested in naturally because of the feud that they've been brewing. But solid performances on both ends.
Absolutely. To me, it looked like they were here to show off from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because Moustache Mountain, towards the beginning of this match, they do this move where Trent Seven is standing near the corner over a laid out somebody from Gallus.
Yeah.
And Tyler Bate goes to maybe the middle rope, jumps off, and as he jumps over Trent Seven, he trips over his shoulders purposefully into a senton.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, these guys are here to show off. They're here to entertain us tonight. And that's what we got. This match was slow at certain points, but not for too long. Mostly those were the times where the heels were working over the baby faces. So, of course, it's going to be slow. But there were a lot of different instances where we got 3 hot tags in this.
Yep.
Just for the baby faces and Moustache Mountain to come back for a little bit and then get taken down from a mistake or something and worked over for a bit longer. This was like a 15 or 16 minute match.
Yeah.
But every bit worth it. What'd you think about this match, Martin?
Oh, it was awesome. The crowd was hot for it. Trent Seven can sell a chop like no other.
Oh, yeah.
He got chopped, and he sold it so well that I legit thought that it was a botched move, but no, he just sold the chop really well. And did you guys catch I believe it was a flip out the side where
Tyler Bate, was it the spot where Tyler Bate does the suicide dive and almost lands in the front row?
Yeah, and you could tell Wolfgang actually had to help him from getting into the crowd.
From falling into the people in the front seats, man. He almost went into 3 or 4 guys, just rolled into their laps.
But yeah, with Trent Seven in this match, I'm gonna say this, we discussed it a little bit on what's NXT about Cassius Ohno's conditioning and whatnot.
Okay, let's throw the words out there now. We had cottage cheese, and we were talking about how Cassius Ohno looks like he ate too many Chris Heroes. So let's get that out there. But, we preface that by saying we know we are out-of-shape males, but we are not wrestlers. We're not paid to do this for a living.
Yeah.
And it's not just about being able to do power moves or things like that or looking good in the ring. It's having cardio for a match that's longer than 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
And Cassius Ohno doesn't have that. And it looks like he's not even trying to do anything about it.
Yeah. Trent Seven, has a whole bunch of stamina to him. He's not the most well-built guy, but he's
built like a can of Spam. But he can go for a 16-minute fucking match and go from bell to bell.
Yep.
And look good in the process. He carries his weight well. He can also do sort of power moves. Now, Tyler Bate can do some fucking power moves.
Tyler Bate was super impressive in this
Speaking
match.
of foods, he looks like he's standing on a couple of chicken leg drumsticks.
Yep.
Like, his thighs are the size of my head. Your head, probably. He's got a big head. I don't know if you guys can tell that. Oh. So I've got some notes from this match, and I want to get through some of this stuff, because Wolfgang, here at the beginning, looked like he's going to become the Sultan of the Senton.
Yep.
Like, he's going to learn how to do the Senton 72 different ways.
Whereas Roderick Strong works with all sorts of backbreakers, Wolfgang will be like Sultan King.
Of
like
the
the Sentons.
So I was going to mention that suicide dive, which was just fucking, it was hard. Maybe the barricade's too close to the ring or something. But he hit so hard, he ended up seated on it with Wolfgang having to push him back towards the ring to keep him from landing on the crowd. That was great.
Yeah.
We got a standing shooting star press from Tyler Bate for a near fall. Then he picks up Wolfgang and does that airplane spin, which is fun. But then he turns it around and goes the other way. And at some point after the turnaround, Wolfgang just goes limp.
Yep.
Where it looks like he just went to sleep. So that's great. I love how he sold that. And then we got Coffee. There's a spot where Coffee, speaking of Bate and his incredible strength, Coffee gets this clutch from a sleeper hold position on his back. He's on top of Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate manages to subdue him and then pick up Wolfgang for a German suplex and drops them both.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
That was a takeover caliber spot right there, is what it was. That's one of those ones you usually break out, at pay-per-view or some event like that. We just got it for free. The crowd just erupted for it, and it was nuts.
Now, the story at the end of this match is Trent Seven kind of being laid out a little bit, and so we've got Tyler Bate essentially trying to win the match on his own. He goes for the Tyler Driver 97 or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
He can't get that in. He goes for that Peter Pan off the top rope, spring back into a lariat. Can't get that in. It's not until he and Trent Seven get back in the ring together on the same page that he can do the Peter Pan off the ropes into the lariat, into that dragon suplex or whatever the fuck. That's how they win the match. Great ending. And then after the match, now we got to build towards Blackpool. So what do we get? We get the brawl. Yeah.
Well, even then, before that finish actually happened is when Joe Coffey appeared.
Yeah, we get the call out.
Yeah.
They wave him
out. Mark Coffey calls for Joe Coffey to come out, Big brother, come help me.
He doesn't even get very far before we hear Pete Dunne's music.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne comes out. And this is the first time we've seen Pete Dunne since he defeated, who was the last person?
Jordan Devlin.
Jordan Devlin for the championship. So this after-match brawl was all 6 of them. Gallus versus British Strong Style. Crowds chanting for British Strong Style. And basically Pete Dunne, because British Strong Style is standing tall at the end of this.
Yeah.
They're in the ring still. They've knocked all of Gallus out. They're heading back up the ramp. And Pete Dunne basically accepts the challenge for the NXT UK Championship at Blackpool Takeover for Joe Coffey.
And they rush back into the ring, and there's a melee following that, and That's how we end the show. They're still fighting when the cameras are like shut off.
So I like that. We got British Strong Style on top just long enough for Pete Dunne to accept the challenge, but then we go off the air with neither one of them getting the upper hand.
Yeah. I think that was a good dynamic for it, because then it shows, like, you know, like how evenly matched both sides really are.
What do you think about the aftermatch, Martin?
I thought it was a really good build. I going into this, I knew Pete Dunne was over, but I didn't realize how much he was over until, you know, his music hit and the crowd ape shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nuts.
Well, have you seen him any on NXT?
I've only seen the I think the last one with the cage when he was with
the War Games.
War Games.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg, friend. There was a match that I think they had it on NXT. It was like a triple threat for the NA title.
Him, Cole, and Ricochet.
For the North American Championship, which was a fucking awesome match.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot about that one when we did our 28... Oh, God. I don't want to remember the episode of NXT from last night. I want to stick to this one. So around these parts, once we get to the end of the main event, that's what we rate. We don't rate the show. We rate the main event. So in this case, we've got the match plus the aftermatch. The acceptance of the challenge. You know, you've got the appearance of Pete Dunne. You've got the brawl between Gallus and British Strong Style to close the show. All of it, all combined. And we use the General's 5-star rating system.
No, we don't.
Oh, this is
an NXT party, my friend. We have the 5 spots of tea.
It's a late night.
Yeah, it's a late night.
So, as our special guest, Martin, you get to go first. Out of 5 spots of tea, where do you rate this main event?
4 spots of tea.
4. Oh, I'm about to say 4 sounds about right. Me, I give it about 4.25, if anything, because it's a perfect lead up, and it also gives that feel that maybe this will be a 6-man tag. You know, like at least at some point. But at the same time, not only did we get an awesome tag match, we finally get the solidification that we're getting that Pete Dunne, Joe Coffey match that's been talked about for weeks now.
Maybe we'll get the 6-man tag for the Go Home show, episode 24. Last one before Blackpool.
Just maybe.
That would be fun.
Yes.
It would be a great Go Home angle. Use it as the main event. I would love to rate that main event.
Yeah.
So you're going 4.25. I would agree with Martin with 4, but I'm going to agree with you because I'm going to give an extra quarter. You know me, I'm always playing with the system.
Yep.
I'm giving an extra quarter star for a random Pete Dunne appearance.
Oh, pretty much. Pete Dunne just jacks it up that much. It's almost like adding Christopher Walken into a movie. It just goes up that much better.
That's what the champs do. When it's a Rhea Ripley match, it automatically gets an extra quarter star. And when there's a random Pete Dunne sighting, it gets a quarter star as well. So I'm going to go 4.25. I thought this was great. This would have been a great go-home angle for NXT. NXT TakeOver Blackpool. I'll get it right someday.
Hell, this whole show probably would have been, actually, I think.
Well,
yeah, I honestly thought it was the go-home show before it ended, because I was like, okay, so TakeOver's next. And they're like, oh, wait, no, we still got a week to go.
Well, there was still another episode before we get to next week's 2 episodes.
Yeah.
God, I'm so looking forward to 1 episode a week.
Yes.
Oh, if that doesn't come after TakeOver, I'm going to be disappointed as hell. Well, that brings us to the end of this NXT party. If you'd like to be up here where the Excalibur Martin Elstone is, and you'd like to join us for a spot of NXT, we'd love to have you. Just get a hold of me. Go find me on Twitter. You can go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's Stefan. Or if you just want to hit me up on Twitter, I'm at Stefan R. Osborne, Osborne. The R stands for restricted. You can also find this gentleman on Twitter
at NoDQ General. And also I have a wrestling group on Facebook, Armbar, all caps, ARMBAR, exclamation point. Find Stefan or I on that, and we'll go ahead and get you thrown into there. And do you have anything to plug, Excalibur?
No, I'm not as cool as you guys.
You don't want to plug your Twitter or nothing?
No.
That's okay. For the first, almost a month of doing this, I didn't have a Twitter, and, he had the lobby for it tapped.
Oh, man, it might have been 2.5 months.
Yep.
I finally got, I think, one person
Yeah.
to be like, yeah, get a Twitter. And then so he got a Twitter, and then he got, one follower, and he was so overjoyed. And I'm like, wait until you get, 20 or 50. I think I'm working my way to 150. That's pretty cool.
I actually have a Twitter. I just can't remember the name. So
I'm sure if you look for Martin Elstone, you might find a Twitter handle that was his.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Twitter.com/MartinElstoneJr.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
Martin Elstone Jr.
And don't try to steal my identity. You won't get far.
Oh, I had somebody steal my identity once, but 2 days later they gave it back.
I wouldn't want to be you either.
They didn't want it. I'm not sure I wanted it back. Anyway, so thank you for joining us for a spot of NXT, and we look forward to the next episode, episode 22 of NXT UK. We'll be reviewing that very shortly, and thanks for having a spot of NXT with us.
Cheerio.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the NXT Party. I am, of course, your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight, as with our previous episode, our special guest, the Excalibur Martin Elstone.
What up?
And tonight we are reviewing episode number 22 of NXT UK. And this, much like our previous episode, was fucking great, man.
Yes, it was kind of hard to top this past one, but now we know we're
It's
gonna be
doable.
we know we're getting Pete Dunne versus Joe Coffey, and so we have the contract signing for that later on in the show.
Yep.
But then before even that, we get some great matches in as well. So
we start off this show with Toni Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo. This is the match that we were basically guaranteed last week with the really, let's just say, shitty backstage encounter.
Yeah.
Just the quality of the acting, or maybe just the words that were printed out for them to repeat.
C movie, not even
Yeah.
B movie. It was C movie.
Not great. The match, however, not bad.
I think it started off sluggish because they were trying to, maintain their friendship and maintain sportsmanship and everything. But after a while, that went out the window, and that's when the match really picked up for me.
Yeah, I started to get frustrated with this match because there were, for the first quarter of the match, it was nothing but head shakes. Who shakes that many times, shakes hands that many times in the ring in a match with anybody? I don't care how big of a baby face you both are. And Deonna Purrazzo is essentially unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen 3 or 4 matches with her. She hasn't won any of them. So, what do you think about this match, Martin?
Same. It started out slow. The whole
Respect.
we get it, your friends, and the whole getting out of each other's move of come on, let's speed it up, and then it did pick up and it ended up being a good match.
I like how Purrazzo worked on the arm. That was the story for the match for me, is the arm. She went over after the shoulder. She went after the joints. She went after everything. And I'm always a fan of, person being picked apart in the ring to a point where they're either screaming or crying towards the end of it. And Toni Storm actually was.
She had some very good, innovative chain wrestling.
Yes.
Deonna Purrazzo did. Just the way she was manipulating the arm into these different moves. She did this one, I guess, submission. It looked like just a manipulation, but she had Toni Storm's arm tied up between her thighs. And all it was crossed in front of her chest.
Yeah.
I was doing this. But somehow it looked painful.
Yep.
Deonna Purrazzo looked great. And the story started when she kicked away that last attempt at a handshake.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, this match starts now, bitch. I'm done with this. And I'm like, thank you, because I'm fucking done with this.
That looked like that Italian temper just kind of came out, and that's when it was on.
So was this joint manipulation she was doing, was this new? Because I don't think I recall it from her other matches.
None of the ones that I've seen. But at the same time, this match was built, I think, to make her look better because she wasn't just an enhancement talent in a squash match. Like, I think Toni Storm beat her. Not Toni Storm. Rhea Ripley beat her, but she was supposed to look like enhancement talent.
Yeah.
We saw a few matches with her in NXT, including the one with Bianca Belair, the dark match before NXT TakeOver Chicago.
Yep.
She was just there to make Bianca Belair look good. And Bianca Belair doesn't look good if she's tied up on the mat for half the match.
Yeah. I think they wanted to show that Toni Storm could withstand submissions and wear down holds, because usually she's in matches where there's a lot more striking and more grappling involved. So this is actually a departure, and I think it was a message towards Rhea Ripley, who's got some submission holds of her own. Actually,
I tell you, the only note I've got about Storm here is where she counters this kick from Deonna, and she ends up turning it around into a backstabber. And then as soon as Deonna Purrazzo gets up, just this wicked headbutt. She gets a headbutt for a near fall. But until the end of this match, everything that I remember was Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, she was all over this match.
She does this move that looks like an inverted Gargano escape, and then slowly transitions it into almost a double chicken wing, as he called it, but the arms are straight, so almost a butterfly, but grounded, and it looks so painful. And I don't know what to call it, but eventually Toni Storm gets her feet on the ropes. This has to break, and of course Toni Storm's going to win this. She counters an armbar into a German suplex, picks her up for the Storm Zero. 1, 2, 3. But I thought Toni Storm looked like a chump for most of this match.
Mm-hmm.
She looked like basically she was just able to kick out of everything that she could, and then caught a break and landed her finisher, and then she won.
I was about to say, Rhea Ripley had better showing against Deonna Purrazzo than Toni Storm did. So,
But
I really don't think it made sense. I thought this match was going to use to build Toni Storm into a tougher opponent to face the champ, but I think Purrazzo ended up looking better than Storm.
I know, right? But whatever, you get what you get. In this case, we get Rhea Ripley to come out, and she doesn't say anything. Fine with me. She just walks to the ring.
she looks good.
She gets up on the apron. She holds up that championship looking only as good as she can look, and she looked good.
Yep.
And that's where we leave it, because she doesn't need to say anything. She's the champ, and she's a badass.
She's pretty much telling Storm, this is as close as you're going to get to this belt. Pretty much at arm's length. That's it.
Now, it's well documented, my love for Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
What do you think about Rhea Ripley, Martin?
Your love for her, I don't get it. I mean, I'm personally a Becky Lynch man, but
That's main roster, sir. We're talking NXT UK. Around these parts, Rhea Ripley is the man.
If we're talking UK, then I'm a Storm guy. Poor actress and all.
Even with them bangs,
I love bangs.
those are some early 90s figure skater bangs right there.
Those are some
Oh,
Taylor Swift bangs.
Taylor Swift.
Toni Storm, TS. Taylor Swift, TS. Can't be a coincidence.
You guys need to tell me you guys don't find Zoe Deschanel hot? She's got bangs for days.
That's true.
Who's that?
That's-
I don't.
Zoe Deschanel?
Is that chick from the Yes Man?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. She's okay.
Yeah.
She's
Also
no,
was also an elf.
she's no Rhea Ripley, but whatever. So
What is it about her, man?
I don't know. Well, she's besides the fact that I'm a wrestling fan and she's a great wrestler, plus she's a great badass heel. She's also smoking hot. I mean, where do you go wrong here? I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So up next we've got Radzi. He's back in the back with Johnny Saint and Sid Scala, and they're announcing next week we are going to get the semifinals for the tag title tournament for TakeOver Blackpool, and we are going to see Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews
Mandrew
versus James Drake and Zach Gibson, which we knew James Drake and Zach Gibson are going to be in here. In fact, I'm predicting they're moving on to the finals because we need a heel team.
To face, Moustache Mountain.
I think they need to be the inaugural champs. Do not give it to Moustache Mountain. That is the ultimate of non-payoffs.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, what's the point of a tournament if you're just going to give it to Moustache Mountain? They were the only team to begin with.
I was about to say, they're the ones that started the whole thing in motion, but at the same time, I don't think they should be the first ones to hold the belts. I think Zach Gibson and James Drake would be the perfect ones to start it off with.
Abso-fucking-lutely. What do you think about, well, let's talk about both the teams. What do you think about Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, and what do you think about Zach Gibson and James Drake?
They're okay, but I honestly think you guys are wrong. I think they're going to put the belts on, at the end of the day, they're going to put the belts on Moustache Mountain.
Blasphemy!
I'm not saying I agree with it.
Can we turn the TV off?
No, we will not turn off the Excalibur. The Excalibur, he'll probably just turn himself back on.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
People hate to tell the truth.
Yeah, that's true. Oh. Well, what do you think about those teams, though?
NXT UK does not have Vince's booking, so there we go.
Well, who do you think's going to win the match? Who do you think's moving on to the finals?
I'm still not sure.
You really don't think that the only heel tag team here is going to move on? You think that Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews are moving on to face Moustache Mountain? That just doesn't seem like an intriguing match. Okay. Be undecided. It's cool.
It's all right. You're still relatively new to the product, too, so...
That's true. So up next, we've got Josh Morrell, the man that they have deemed Turbo.
He got his ass handed to him by Eddie Dennis before he even got into his match with Dave Mastiff, which is probably a blessing in disguise for him at this point.
So this is his re-debut.
His re-debut.
Mm-hmm. And tonight he's going against Mike Hitchman, the Wild Boar. And maybe we're finally going to see Mike Hitchman get a win here. But then I looked at him and I'm like, well, do you think this Turbo guy is going to be their enhancement talent, their strict jobber that is going to break the mold, and they're going to tell the story of him getting this win that he probably shouldn't have gotten? But no, Wild Boar Mike Hitchman finally gets a win, and he looked great.
Well, Mike Hitchman always puts on a great match. He's got that stoutness to him and everything, that Taz-like quality, as I called it when I first saw him wrestle. But he does this awesome wheelbarrow type push away, it was almost like it was just some sort of weird throw.
Yeah, they called it a wheelbarrow throw, and that's the only thing I could call it. He throws him up in the wheelbarrow, but instead of catching him or dropping him or anything else, he just pushes him by his back away. Just go fall over there, which was really fun. And then he follows it up with this senton to the back, which looked great. Another king of the sentons, man.
Yep.
Get a lot of sentons and cannonballs on NXT UK. I like it. We've got Turbo goes for a standing drop kick, or maybe it was a running. Follows it up with a purposeful Pele kick. Usually you see a Pele kick come out of where somebody's getting beat down and dude just happens to be behind him, so they just drop a Pele kick real quick and then both guys are down for a while. No, he does this one very purposefully. Turns around, does it, then gets back up. What is he? Goes for a standing senton.
Yeah.
Gets a near fall. So he looked good, I guess, compared to Hitchman a little bit. But Hitchman comes back, hits this fireman's drop into the corner. And this is where I pause it to make my notes, because I'm like, hey, Jerry, this match is over. He's about to do that inverted senton he does, and then he's going to pin him. I was wrong, but in a slight variation.
Yeah. He at least nailed the senton into the corner. But then he follows it up with what you didn't think was a frog splash, but
I call it a very ugly splash.
I call it a bullfrog splash, because his arms were kind of flailing off to the side. And
again, camera angle. It was all camera angle. The camera was angled where his arms are, like mine are now. So the frog, to me, looked like he was flailing his arms, like he was splashing water. Anyway.
I joked, I'm gonna win.
So bullfrog splash for the 1, 2, 3. What do you think about this match, Martin?
Okay, let me preface this with, I think Hitchman is an awesome wrestler. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he won this match. But what is up with his gimmick? It's like Diet Mantar.
Yeah, with the blacked out eyes, and of course he's got those missing teeth that they said was from a bar fight, and then he comes out in that vest that's got these horns on it. And I said, quick note about those horns, they are repurposed. They're old sex toys. Oh, man.
Do you think it's working for him? Or?
You know what? He stands out.
Yeah, that's true.
Compared to all the other guys that are about his height, that are about his weight, he stands out.
I like it, but I also like that when he had that tag team partner, the primate guy, not too long ago. Like, maybe they'll have, like, some sort of, like, menagerie type
That's
faction
funny.
after a while.
I'm looking for the primate, Jay Melrose.
Yes, Jay Melrose, the primate.
And that's why we take notes.
Yep.
So, what do we have next? Joseph Connors. Selfie style promo, I guess, just over here, you know, on the side of his face. And he is still with this, talking about the new toys. He sounds like Cassius Ohno to me.
Yeah. But he's actually a little more convincing with it, I think.
This time, I bought into his story a little bit more.
Because he's talking about how the company has fed lies to him, they've fed lies to the other superstars. And
they keep talking about, we are NXT UK. And he said, there's no we about it.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Yep.
And from now on, it's just going to be me taking out all the other new toys.
Yep.
And that's basically it. Have you seen any Joseph Connors matches in the episodes that you watched?
No.
So you missed his tag team matches, and he's actually pretty badass. He's got an awesome finisher. It's like this cradle flatliner. It's really cool.
Calls it Don't Look Down.
Yeah, I'm a soft fan. I'm going to call it right now. Right now, I'm still looking for something that's not exactly the Cassius Ohno repeat, but I like where they're going a little bit in this promo.
Yeah.
I thought the promo was effective. I mean, it didn't stand out with the bad acting like the Storm thing, but I mean, unbelievably thing.
Yeah, at least he was good at delivering it.
He's got kind of like that Raven quality to him, to the point where because like he's got that like why not me? Why am I not why am I not being built up like the rest of these guys are? These ones that are just being brought in and do all their flippy crap and whatnot.
Yeah, their flippy spinny shit.
Their flippy spitty shit.
So next we have the promo from Travis Banks, and I think Martin, maybe Jerry, one of you mentioned either earlier in the last episode. This is that, again, selfie style promo, and he's just basically talking back at Jordan Devlin, who essentially called him out last week. So I guess, yeah, it was the last episode we mentioned this.
Yep.
And I wasn't really impressed. I didn't make any notes of anything he really said, other than he didn't even really officially make a challenge.
No.
Just kind of insinuated that the challenge is on. So somebody's going to get served?
Maybe it's one of those things where it's like it'll just kind of pop up on the card at the last second, kind of like Ono and Riddle did for NXT TakeOver War Games.
Did this do anything for you, Martin?
I was just about to say, this was so ineffective, I don't remember this at all.
Wow.
Yeah, so I guess Jerry was the one that mentioned it, because when he did, I was like, when the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
But I guess it happened. However, moving on to far better segments.
Yes.
So, we've got Eichner and Bartel.
Oh, yes.
They are in the back with Sid Scala, not Johnny Saint. They're not going to get up in Johnny Saint's face like this.
Oh, no.
But they are putting pressure on Sid Scala. They take exception to the fact that they didn't get into the semifinal match for the tag tournament.
Which you actually thought was a qualifying match.
I thought the match they had last episode was a qualifying match for that. Apparently it was not. But I take exception to the fact that they're not in that match. They should fucking be in that match.
Yeah.
But I guess it wouldn't make sense to have heel versus heel, and you gots to have James Drake and Zach Gibson. Gotta have them.
But
they're moving on, right?
At this point, I'm praying to wrestling gods that they get injected into the match and make it a triple threat tag match. I'm over here just bargaining more or less silently in my head.
Well, you weren't doing it silently because you actually reminded me that tag team triple threat matches are a thing. We could actually have that, which would be cool.
But it doesn't happen.
No, instead, Sid Scala basically grows a set right there on screen, and he looks right back at him and he says, look, we don't like your guys' attitude since you've been here, and based off of that, I'm telling you right now, if you get involved in that match, that semifinal match, your time is gonna be as short-lived as your time, or something like that. He's gonna fire him basically.
Yeah, he said they interfere, they're out.
So there went your original prediction, which I liked. Them interfering, costing Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews the match. That sets up their feud. There's a match for TakeOver if you want it. But instead, they're barred from ringside. So new prediction.
Yep. They're going to attack Flash Morgan Webster or Mark Andrews before their match even occurs.
So it's 1-on-2.
And they lose their spot. Simple as that.
What'd you think about this segment, Martin?
I mean, it was all right. I think the end game is just what he mentioned, that this is basically a setup for a pre strike before match to kind of screw up the whole, put a cog in the machine.
Did you love the ending of this segment as much as I did, though? Just without words, just the staring down of Fabian Eichner onto Sid Scala, and how Bartel has to kind of hold him back.
Yep.
But at the same time with that sneer, and then he's the first one to leave, and he just slams that door open. Just, I'm like, oh, these guys are fucking awesome.
Well, what I really liked about that is the fact that you already got it in your head. The second, they're just staring at him, it almost clicked in their heads what they were going to have to do or what they were going to do.
Yeah, you could see in their mind they're trying to form a new plan.
Yep.
And I love this. I'm really looking forward to this team. I think they look great together, and the match that they had was awesome.
Yeah.
And they already look like a tag team, so I'm very big on these two. I hope they keep them together, and I hope they don't split them apart anytime soon. Obviously, they're mostly single stars, so eventually they'll probably split, but I hope they...
Before we get into this next segment, usually I try to ask people this anyway, but I forgot to. Who do you feel is the most impressive superstar you've seen so far out of the wrestlers here in NXT UK? We're about 22 episodes in now, and I know you had to binge watch a whole bunch just to catch up with us. So, who are you most impressed by so far that you've actually seen wrestle?
Well, I think the obvious choice is Dunn, but besides Dunn, I mean, like I was saying with Wild Boar, I think if you give him the right amount, he's fun just to watch wrestle. He does this weird stuff that, the feelings of his matches are different. It's like it's a whole different game with his matches. He does this weird stuff.
I was about to say, he's got this certain charisma to him to the point where, it kind of takes you out of the whole... He's got a very unorthodox style, is what we'll do. We'll go with that.
Yes, fresh.
Yes.
So up next we get basically the last match of the night. This isn't going to be the main event. We've got that saved for the contract signing. But we get Dave Mastiff versus Eddie Dennis in this grudge match. And I was pissed going in.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this match needs to happen at Blackpool, or at TakeOver Blackpool. And by the end, I was not disappointed in you.
No, you weren't. You're actually quite pleased.
We had a fun match. We got a drop kick by Dave Mastiff.
Yeah.
And I backed it up. Just a drop kick, right? But a guy like Dave Mastiff, I mean, it almost looks like a basement drop kick because he's so stout. He looks like, that low center of gravity shit. But, I mean, this match went on for longer than it actually needed to, considering the ending. They're on the outside. Dennis goes for one of those severed bridge... what is it? Razor's Edge, essentially.
Yeah. Looks like he was aiming right for the steel steps, too, which would... Yeah, that would have been the end of it right there.
But then Mastiff gets out of it, and he ends up doing one of those Finley rolls.
Yeah.
Where he's got him on his back like a fireman's carry, and then he rolls forward. A rolling senton is what they... No, I don't know. Anyway.
Pretty much same thing.
So, we get that. We get... Oh yeah, he goes to hit Dennis on the steps. So after the roll, Dennis kind of backs up into the steps to set up, and Mastiff goes to do that running senton cannonball. Or no. I thought he was going to go do that. He just goes to put his shoulder into him.
Yep.
Dennis gets out of the way, so Mastiff goes shoulder first into the steps, and after this, they both just barely miss a 10 count.
Yep.
They were almost both counted out. They get back in the ring, and then from here, it completely breaks down. Yep. They just start punching each other, essentially. Middle of the ring, just start battling, and the ref's telling him to break it off, break it off. He goes to get in the middle of this, and he gets thrown to the side, and he double disqualifies these bitches. What the fuck? This came out of nowhere.
It was the first double DQ that we've had on NXT UK.
Suddenly the bell rang. What did you think about this ending?
I actually you said you enjoyed the match. I totally disagree with you. I knew this was going to be a placeholder match up until TakeOver, so I know there's going to be some sort of screwy finish. I didn't think it was going to end that weird, but I knew it was going to be a kind of like almost a Russo-esque ending. So,
so I guess because I was surprised, the match was more pleasant to me.
Yeah.
So they battle, they brawl, and they've got like 3 or 4 refs out there trying to break them up, and nobody can break them up. Eventually, Johnny Saint comes out. Of course, he's not going to get physical or nothing, but his presence at the top of the ramp kind of staves off the battle just long enough for him to say, okay, you guys want this so bad, we're going to do this at TakeOver Blackpool. No disqualification. Perfect.
Yep.
We were debating the other day on what kind of match they needed at TakeOver.
I thought last man standing.
But I thought since, Gargano and Ciampa had that last man standing not too long ago at NXT TakeOver, probably a little too soon for that. No DQ is perfect. Plus, hashtag no DQ. Are you looking forward to this match now? Even though you were disappointed in this placeholder?
The Mastiff and Dennis match, that's probably what I'm least looking forward to. I mean, the whole card stacked. I want to watch the match, but I mean, this is sort of like all right, I'm not expecting too much.
It's passable, more or less.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it.
Me, I've already told you that I'm getting I'm getting kind of tired of Eddie Dennis. It's only because,
your hopes were set so high.
My hopes were set very, very high for this, especially with all the promos and everything we got for the first few episodes of NXT UK, where he was talking about his past with Mark Andrews and Pete Dunne. And I thought by now he would have at least gone after one of them.
This man has no patience. I'm like,
no
patience. That storyline is coming.
No patience.
Once we have emotional investment in the characters and we're in this, we're in NXT UK for the long haul, and there's one episode a week. When all of this comes together, we will finally get Eddie Dennis versus Mark Andrews in a feud, and then we will finally get Eddie Dennis versus Pete Dunne in a feud. You just got to be patient, my brother. That's all I got to say about that.
I hate waiting.
So, the main event, up next, we've got Johnny Saint and Sid Scala in the ring. They're going to introduce and bring out first Joe Coffey, then Pete Dunne to a roaring fucking ovation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, they love Pete Dunne.
Well, you're over here still jamming out to Gallus' music.
Oh. Yeah! Oh, man, that music, that song is just stuck on replay in my head. And it's just 8 bars. Oh! Oh, Gallus' theme music. That should have been theme song of the year.
Yeah.
I think. Anyway. Not fucking Undisputed Era. Fuck Undisputed Era. Well, no, not really. I like them too, but I don't think their theme song is near as catchy as Gallus.
No, it isn't.
So, basically, Joe Coffey does all the talking. It's going to be a new era. He's going to dethrone Pete Dunne, blah, blah, blah. And as he said, it's funny how he mentions he's going to take the throne after he stands up out of the chair. Just a weird choice of movement before you're talking about taking a throne. That's where you take a seat, right? I don't know. But then Dunn turns around and he just says, "You talk too much."
Well, Joe signs a contract only to get his hands grabbed by Pete Dunne, the finger break thing, and Pete Dunne just tells him, "You talk too much, and I'll see you at TakeOver."
And then Gallus comes out. That is the other two members, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. They come out onto the rampway,
looking horrible,
looking like a 1983 Gap commercial or some shit. Just
they look like they were ready to get their Sears portrait done.
Oh man, this is the worst. But they come out just long enough to distract Pete Dunne, and Joe Coffey can get in some shots.
And he gets that great looking power bomb onto Pete Dunne right through the table.
You knew the table didn't stand a chance.
That's any contract signing. We were talking about that earlier.
Follow a formula here.
If you have a contract table or a cake, chances are it's going to get destroyed in the ring.
So we get Dunne through the table, and Joe stands tall, holding the NXT UK Championship above his head, above Pete Dunne. What do you think about this, Martin?
Actually, I thought that this was going to be a peaceful contract signing, the first in wrestling history, and I was really disappointed.
Oh yeah, you would think so, because England, very proper. You don't see anybody get.
Not with Gallus, man. Come on.
You could see it from space how this was going to end. Coffey was gonna look victorious to build the extra heat for the main event.
Of course. We'll see who looks tall on the Go Home show. But like I said, I'm really hoping for the Go Home show we see that 6-man tag, Gallus versus British Strong Style. That would be awesome. That would be a great build.
Especially if Dunne gets pinned by Coffey in that match.
And you could tease throughout the whole match, Joe getting in the ring with Pete Dunne without actually having to do it. So, that brings us to the end of this main event for episode number 22 of NXT UK. And around these parts, and I'm going to get it right this time, we rate the main event off of the 5 spots of NXT system.
Yep.
And as always, as our special guest, Mr. Excalibur. Martin, where do you rate this main event? And we're talking about the contract signing.
Contract signing, a 1 spot of T. No big surprises.
Might be the lowest rating anything has ever gotten on this show.
I'm about to say I at least gave the one on what's NXT the other night 2.75, but
there's so much to ask. Surprised me at a contract signing. I mean,
well, looking at it from that point of view, I can see your standpoint, and I can see why you give it such a low score. But from my point of view, I'm looking at building towards Takeover Blackpool, so I got to give it better than that. But at the same time, pretty lame for a main event.
It's such a low hanging fruit. That's sort of like
This should have started the show. I don't know what would have ended the show, because the match that started the show, Toni Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo, probably shouldn't have ended the show either. Have Hitchman winning in the show, shit. But this was kind of a letdown for the main event. I'm not going to go too far above that though. I'll go 2 stars.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, 2 spots of NXT.
I'm going to go ahead and go with a 2 as well, because A, it wasn't a match naturally. And B, we saw the finish pretty much coming a mile away. Somebody was going to get put through that table. And granted, it was just pretty much an elongated promo. It didn't really say anything we hadn't already heard. Granted, Pete Dunne was funny with the whole figure break thing. That's probably why he got at least got a 2. The fact that when Pete Dunne does say anything, usually it's something important or something snarky. And it's usually for something pretty great. So I'd say 2 is fair enough.
So pretty low scores, but not a bad episode.
No, not bad.
I really enjoyed it. It's just predictable. I think actually if you'd have had Mastiff and Dennis as the main event, I would have been okay with that because of the way that it came out and them making the no DQ match for Takeover.
I can see that too.
If you just switched those around, this would have been a much better ending to the show. But we gets what we gets. And that brings us to the ending of our show, the NXT party. And before we get into our plugs, you want to plug your Twitter this time?
Sure. Twitter.com/MartinElstoneJr.
Yep.
Martin Elstone Jr. That's how you can contact or follow the Excalibur up here. And if you'd like to be in this spot where he's at and join us for a cup of NXT, or I actually have a mug this time, a cup of NXT, you can get a hold of me on Twitter. Just go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's Stefan. If you just want to go to Twitter and find me, it's Stefan R. Osborne, Osborne. The R stands for restricted. You can also follow this gentleman on Twitter
at NoDQ General, and also on a Facebook group called Armbar, all capitals, ARMBAR, exclamation point.
So just hit up those DMs and let us know if you want to be on the show. We'll try to get you on. Currently, I believe we have next week booked. We are also booked next week to do a predictions video for NXT TakeOver Blackpool, or NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool.
Yeah, that's a long title.
Killing me with all these titles.
Yeah.
But occasionally I get them spot on, and I'm so proud of myself. So, for the General, Jerry Slaughter, for the Excalibur, Martin Elstone, I am, of course, the Rated R reviewer, Stefan Osborne. Thank you for joining us for a cup of NXT, and we'll see you NXT time.